I'm looking at this robot that we're trying to build, and I want to see if it can be helpful in the kitchen. I'm looking at making a salad. So you take the tomato, you slice it, and you take the cucumber, and you take the onion, everything. Okay. Those are extremely complicated. Cannot be done on the basis of our understanding and knowledge today.
So where are the sex robots?
They're coming. They will be. Yeah, sure. These robots were humanoids, and they developed emotions. So there was a relationship between a female and a robot.
What is a personal robot?
So personal robot means attached to a person, not physically attached, but helping a person to do the daily activities, most likely in a home or institution.
How are they made?
It's basically, the robot is more or less standard technology. So the robot could be rolling on wheels. So mobility, arms, body, and sensors, which includes cameras.
Why haven't robots taken all of our jobs?
Because they have not evolved to a point where they can replace people. Robots, it's just a process that hasn't been completed. It's coming. In other words, there's no question about that. With the development of robots, the development of AI, so AI and robots would be able to do a lot of things that people do today, and that's inevitable. You cannot stop it unless you stop it by legislation. In other words, you prohibit robots from taking over people's. But this had happened already. How many secretaries or people answering the phone used to be, and now you talk to a machine, right? So that's it. So there is no having robots doing the work of people. Could be in factories. And this is happening, actually. There are many examples where robots work beside a person. This is real. It's not development. And the person does some assembly, taking a part and another part, snapping them together. So the robot is handing the parts to the person, picking up from a bin, give it to person inserts it into something, and then the robot comes with the second. So that's already done. So effectively you say, well, there was a second person there. That person is no longer there. There is a robot. That is given.
Do they make mistakes? The one that you said that's handling, those kinds of robots, do they make mistakes?
Yeah.
They make mistakes?
Yeah. The developer of the robot supposedly provide a product that is reliable and doesn't make errors, but they do. And the more complicated the tasks are, the more errors are going to be done. The point is that the whole idea that the robot has intelligence, like the human, this is nonsense. There is nothing close. And this is, when people say that, either they don't know what they're talking about, or they are fraud.
You mean like the robot being as intelligent as human?
There are 3, 4, 5 people around the world that have established this AI field. One of them is Canadian, Hinton. And one of them, he is a Frenchman, but he lives in the US. And he's really solidly good, and whatever he did was always remarkable. So they asked him the same question: how long will it take to create this generic intelligence? So he said, 10, 20, 30 years. We are not even close. The whole thing with the robots AI is that you have to teach first in order for the robot to use the AI and do something meaningful. So it doesn't come from within. Like we have the ability to to do things that we have not been told or learned. No, the robot doesn't have that.
They're always programmed.
Give an example, okay? The robot that I'm building is supposed to make the bed, okay? What does that mean? When you wake up in the morning, the blanket is what is, the pillows are somewhere, the bed sheet is not stretched. Okay, robot, make the bed. Now, the robot has to understand what's happened there. Okay, now, there are two ways of doing that. One way, which is the long way, is the robot to take sufficiently many images from different angles, figure out what it is, and then put together a way to stretch the bed sheet, put the pillows on. It's by teaching the robot. How is the teaching? What does that mean? Because it's not a child or a person that you teach and then the person repeats. No. The learning is done by creating a lot of situations, meaning I take the bed and I do a mess, take an image, take the bed, do another mess, same bed, take an image. How many? As many as you have time or patience. From all these images, for each of those images, the robot learns what to do. So one image shows the blanket tuck. So the robot is taught to pick up and pull it this way. The next image, the blanket is rolled differently. So there is also a learning. Okay, so now you have in the morning when you wake up, what do? How does the robot know? The robot is going to take an image and look for the closest image from those situations that it has learned. That's it. So the more training, the more cases you expose the robot to the mess of the bed, the higher the chance that it will be done right. That's it. That is the intelligence. And I honestly, when I hear those, some people saying that there is some intelligence inside the machine, that makes me just, I get so upset. I can't stop talking about it. That's why I start telling you.
Are robots essentially slaves?
Essentially,
Slaves?
slaves? Yeah, we call the robot butler. Actually, the robot that we're trying to develop has been named Robo Butler. So it's
We meaning like what do you mean by we?
my company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we making a butler, not a humanoid, but a robot that would do a number of things. So what are the number of things? Making the bed, okay? Cleaning the dishes from a meal after the leftovers have been thrown, okay, by somebody. The dishes dirty are going to be put in the dishwasher. So all this manipulation, picking them up, knowing where to put them, etc. Robot would take laundry and sort out white versus colored and put them in the dishwasher, in the washer, move them to the dryer.
Well, why not just get a human to do that?
The assumption is that people want more time for themselves. So if there are things that can be done by a slave, using your word, or a butler, most people don't like to take the dirty dishes, put them in the dishwasher, and it doesn't take long. But it's something that you would rather not do if you could.
But if you do it, there's no cost, no? Like you're just doing it.
Of course, yeah. No, it's not
Wouldn't it just be like wealthy people who would buy it? They'd be like, yeah, whatever, I'll get a robot.
The assumption is that probably yes. And then if the volume of sales is increasing, so then the prices are going down, then more and more people, so from the wealthy you go into the middle class, so they should be able to buy. Families with, say, two incomes, middle class, okay? They are busy and they have children, so they are busy with other things. If somebody can take care of the laundry and sort things out, put them in the washer, so be it. Or even clear the table after a meal.
You know, the humanoid robots, the ones that look like humans, people are reacting more and more to the ones with a face. There's one called, I think, Amica. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah.
Like there's one video that went viral and someone's trying to like put their finger on the face and it reacts just like a human, like it's disgusted and it puts the head back. The scariest thing I've seen. Have you seen that video with the finger going?
No, I know the humanoid that you mentioned. I know that type. No, I didn't see this with the finger in your poking your. No, no. I honestly, I am among those who are questioning the humanoid to be like a person.
Why do people want to do that?
I would think that, well, it's interesting, when you look at a robot sort of mimicking a human, it's probably more interesting than having a robot on wheels. What is the humanoid providing in that case? At this point is catching. That's all I can say.
Catching.
Catching.
Catching what?
Catching attention. Whether making them human-like is a gimmick for marketing, possible. The point is that somebody like me building them and wanting to market them and make a product, you want to make it as low as possible in cost.
Well, why does the cost matter? Why does it have to be cheap? Why can't it just be expensive?
Because you want to sell it. Okay. So when you talk about personal robots, you see there are robots used in factories or so they are usually more expensive. I mean, in industry, robots are more expensive, so the industry can afford to buy. I want to make robots for everyday life. I want a robot around a house.
Why?
Because I think that there is a market for it. And the robot that I'm working on is supposed to do a lot of things around the house, and it's not an easy task to do. But the important thing is how much is going to cost to actually sell it, because the buyer is not an institution, is not a company, is an individual, a family.
Why are they so expensive to make?
All the hardware that is coming into the robot to make the robot moving, it's expensive. You're talking about one motor could be $3,000. And then with the gear attached, it could be another 2,000, so maybe five. So the components are a major element of the cost.
Will it be cheaper in the future?
The only way to make them cheaper would be to increase the volume of those devices. So the wider the market, the bigger the market, then there will be easier to work out deals with manufacturers of components for large volumes and reduce the price. The way I interpret things is that once something starts being used and more people are using, then it's becoming more customary. And the cell phone is an example. At the beginning, there were only a few people that used it because it was expensive, and slowly, now children have it. So this is the way the humanity advances, makes progress.
So, where are the sex robots?
They're coming. They will be. Yeah, sure. I'm reading a book. Just think about it, because I just happened to read a book recommended by somebody, some American author. Okay, this was written 30 years ago, so that's a long time. Okay, and it's a fiction about a family that have people and robots around it. So that woman author was able to envisage things that supposedly happen today. But that was 30 years ago. And these robots were humanoids, and they developed emotions. So there was a relationship between a female and a robot. That's what the book says.
Do you think that can happen?
I'm hesitant. One side of me says that everything is possible. So on the other hand, I'm thinking, what can be done today and how long will it take this to become really, the robots would become emotionally involved and have sex with someone. If you ask me, is it technologically possible? Way back, my answer would be yes.
The anticipation is just for robots purely for sex, not to have a relationship with. They just want one just for
function.
For function,
exactly. Yeah. So the robo butler that I'm talking is, you call it a slave. Yeah, that's what it is. There is no, I mean, you may like the robot or not, but you don't have there is no relationship. That book, it's amazing, describes basically in a family, there are people and there are robots, and there seems to be an attachment between some robots to people, etc., and vice versa, emotional or even with sexual tones. What do I say about? I read. I wouldn't take that book for sure, but it was recommended. Somebody knows me because I'm dealing with those things. Said you should read that because that was the future anticipated 30 years ago, and the future anticipated is not. We're not there yet. So maybe another 30 years before. So somebody had imagination and creativity, talk about the author.
Are they geared mostly towards men, do you think, or does it go for women also?
If there is going to be a robot used for sex, it could be either one. Could be a male with a woman and vice versa. So from the electromechanical point of view, it makes no difference if the robot is female or male. Both can be implemented.
To sell?
Yeah. Whether somebody would pick up on that to try to make these robots.
Really? They haven't started already?
Well, there is some, I read a few things about, not yet public, in other words, not products to be offered. But I tell you what, if I read tomorrow, because I get so many blogs, and suddenly somebody reports about something like that it happened, I wouldn't be surprised.
What is one thing that robots will never be able to do?
Well, I would say if the task is very complicated, okay, give you an example, because that's the best way. Okay. I'm looking at this robot that we're trying to build, and I want to see if it can be helpful in the kitchen to help the cook or someone to prepare food. So I'm looking at making a salad. So you take the tomato, you slice it, and you take the cucumber, and you take the onion, everything. Okay. Those are extremely complicated. Cannot be done on the basis of our understanding and knowledge today. And it's nothing to do with the robot mechanical, because I can make the robot mechanically to hold the knife and cut. It's just we cannot put together the software that would instruct the robot how to cut so many items and mix them together. So basically what I'm answering you, because you asked me what he cannot do, complexity of a task reaches a point where the robot cannot do it.
You mean just for now or even in the future?
I cannot say for future long time, because things will
But if you were writing like that book that you told me, like if you were writing your own book today,
Yeah.
what is something they could never do? You think they can never do even in the future?
No, I don't think that that will be the case. That there is such that cannot be done given long time and resources. No, everything can be expressed in a way that can be translated into machine learning and teach the robot to do it. One thing the robot are not going to do is to infer things that have not been taught, which is what we do. You know, inferring things. Inferring means you don't have to live every situation in life. You live this and this, but you make sense. No, robots don't have that, and I don't know how, based on my understanding today, and even if I go further up, how would that change? 2 years ago, a prophet somewhere in Pennsylvania or something, attempting to map the neurological system of a person in order to capture the way information is transferred, okay, basically electrical signals and so on. I understand what he's trying to do. Is this possible? I would say that probably yes, given 50 years and resources, it's possible that there will be a model of the brain. In other words, you need to understand the chemistry, the biochemistry, and the electromagnetic effects in the brain. And if you manage to understand them, which means a lot of work by many people, yes, you can simulate, you can emulate that.
Does that scare you? What do you think about that?
Oh. Well, I'm not going to be around, so that's fine. No, it's not scary. It's exciting. No, I'm very excited what I do now. Trying to combine AI. See, robotics is a field that was well established already many years, 30, 40 years. AI is new. Linking them, very exciting.
Are people excited too? Like in the movies and in Hollywood, a common theme is always it will lead to our destruction.
No. Yeah, I know there are people who think that the robots or AI robots will take over the world and I don't buy that. I'm not saying I'm not saying that is not going to happen for sure. On the other hand, it doesn't worry me. I don't see it.